I've been sitting with a question lately that I'm still working out in real time, and it's around the assumption that similar problems share the same solution. Think about someone who lost a significant amount of weight, maybe over 6 months. They found something that worked, a specific routine, a way of eating, a schedule they've committed to, and it worked, genuinely worked. Now imagine someone else trying to do the same thing. Follow the same routine, the same plan, the same formula, and not getting the same results. Almost immediately, the assumption starts forming. Maybe they weren't consistent. Maybe they're not doing it right. Maybe they're not trying hard enough. But what often goes unexamined is everything else: different body, different metabolism, different health history, different time, energy, stress, support, different starting point. And still, there's this expectation that the same inputs should produce the same outcomes. And I've been thinking about how often this shows up beyond just something like weight loss. Think about a couple who went through a hard season in their relationship. They found their way through it. Maybe it was through honest conversation, maybe it was counseling, or a particular practice or commitment they made to each other. And it worked. Now they encounter another couple, friends, family, someone they care about who's struggling. And almost immediately, the advice starts. Have you tried talking it through? That's what helped us. Here's what we did. This is the formula. And I don't think that's wrong on its own. There's something beautiful about wanting to offer what you found. But I think there's a difference between saying this worked for me and this should work for you too. I notice how quickly, how unconsciously we slide from one to the other. The same thing could be with parenting. Someone finds a routine that works for them. So they see another parent struggling, the assumption already forming that they probably haven't tried what I tried. A different example: someone lives through something difficult, and the way they've made sense of it, the way they've survived it, becomes the definition of what resilience should look like for everyone else. But here's what that misses: every child is different, every household is different. Every parent is carrying a different set of circumstances, a different history, a different 24 hours. Context isn't a footnote, it's the whole thing. And something subtle happens here. We take something that is true for us and we begin to treat it as though it's true, period. I think part of what's happening is that we see similarities and we assume sameness. This looks like what I went through. This sounds like what I experienced. So the answer must be the same. But similar is not the same. And I keep coming back to that, even in my own thinking, especially in my work as a researcher. This tension shows up because a core part of research is asking, what can we generalize? Where can this apply? And if I'm honest, that's always been difficult for me. Because even when we have large samples, even when something is considered representative, even when the methods are strong, it still feels like we're looking at one version of reality, one moment, one context, one set of conditions, and the world doesn't stay still. Contexts shift, people change, circumstances evolve. So something in me resists the idea that what we observe can ever fully translate everywhere else. Here's what I keep circling back to. The person who found support by asking for it assumes the one who doesn't have support never asked for it. The couple that worked things out by talking assumes the ones who didn't work it out just didn't communicate. The student who studied hard and was successful assumes that the one who wasn't successful didn't study. The person who built something in 24 hours assumes everyone else should be able to build the same thing in the same amount of time. And suddenly there are all these quiet assumptions. You didn't try hard enough. You didn't do it right. You didn't follow the formula. Underneath all of this is a single perspective being applied to a completely different life, different person, circumstance, environment, supports, history. different 24 hours. Yet there is this pull towards copy and paste. If I do what they did, I should get what they got. And when that doesn't happen, it becomes easy to turn inward or outward and assign blame. This shows up in another way also. Someone who leaves a hard relationship believes that they made the difficult and the right choice. The person that stayed believes that they made the difficult and the right choice. And yet they can look at each other as having made the easy one or the wrong one. Both did something hard, both paid a real cost. But because the hard thing they chose looks different, it becomes harder to recognize the other choice as also being legitimate. The question shifts from, was this difficult? To, did you choose what I chose? And it reveals something deeper, that sometimes it's not just that we generalize from our experience, it's that we need our experience to be the right one. And when that happens, a different path, even an equally hard one, can start to look like the wrong one. What gets overlooked are the differences in context and the lived experiences that shape what's possible, what's accessible, and what's even real for somebody else. Now, I'm not saying that we can't learn from each other. I think we absolutely can and should. Shared experience has real value. What worked for you is real. That story does matter. But I think it has to come with honesty about its context and its limits. This worked for me in my situation with my specific circumstances. It may not be the answer for you, but it's another story, another perspective that I can offer you. Your outcome doesn't have to look like mine to be valid. I'm still sitting with this reflection, and I welcome your thoughts also. I think I'll honestly keep coming back to it, but here's where I am at this moment. Context is not a footnote. Difference is not a deficiency. What does it cost me to admit that my path was right for me, but may not be the only right path? Similar is not the same. And learning to hold that distinction with real humility, real curiosity, might be one of the most important things we can practice in how we show up for one another. What does it look like to learn from others without turning each other into templates? To share our experiences without turning them into answers? Or to offer what we've learned without expecting it to translate into every other situation? What might be true in someone's situation that we've never had to consider in our own? Where might we be confusing similarity with sameness? And that concludes today's reflection for now. Thank you for taking this moment to reflect on this question with me today.